we do to get ourselves hyped up for every show.
Yes.
Where we each share our most humiliating personal story. Then we'll
yes.
go live on YouTube.
Incredible. And then we'll cut it out, talk about more incriminating information, and yeah.
Exactly. Just kidding. We're live.
Amazing.
That one was for the true fans.
The true 3 fans who watched our stream last week.
We've got more than 3. Sound. I'm not going to say how many it is, but there are more than 3 people
tonight?
Watching
All right.
right now.
Listen, I am not going to inquire about who's watching.
What's up, all you fireheads? You arsonists, how you doing? This is the part where we kind of talk before we start the part that's going to be released on the podcast. We're definitely going to figure out how to end our live YouTube on time this time. And also, thank you if you're watching live for waiting, because Sam, you're on another show because you're so fucking popular. Pardon my French, but you're Canadian, so I think you'll accept it.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. I mean, what am I thanking you for my popularity? I was actually on a stream with the fine folks of Fax Machine podcast, which is another podcast and also another caveat show. And it is just much like Vocabulary. It's like wordplay, or I should say it's a bunch of nerds doing something I love, which I much appreciate.
Vocabulary is another show that Sam and I do. If there's anybody that is watching this that doesn't also know that Sam and I also do the show called Vocabulary, which is a wordplay and language variety show. I just realized that Fax Machine was a pun during while you were on the live stream, which I couldn't watch because I was setting up here.
Totally fine. Also, the theme was bugs, and I just realized that the movie B-Movie is a pun.
B-Movie is a pun.
Wow.
Not a good one, but it is one.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, Jerry Seinfeld and puns shouldn't intersect, I think. B-Movie and then salsa. I think that's the extent of it.
What is salsa?
It was a bad pun from Seinfeld that was vaguely problematic. Okay. So we've got a podcast to record. Is there anything else we need to check in on before we sort of go live? I mean, we're already live, but before we go
live. No, I mean, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. Thank you for asking. A busy week this week, but yeah. And a special treat if you're watching, we're gonna recap we're gonna dig into the music video. If we didn't start the fire. I'm
truly so excited to hear your thoughts on the music video, because I am like,
I have a lot.
I am truly useless. Like if you, all I'm saying is, if you looked at my page of notes of like the things I think I deduced from the music video, you're going to think I'm an idiot.
No. I conned you into this.
Yeah.
You're doing this show as a matter of trust.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, I don't begrudge you for being like, I don't know, why am I watching this music video? Or,
well, no, it's more that like my sleuthing, I was taking notes like, all right, Billy Joel loves cookie jars. What does it mean? I have so many questions, so we'll dig in.
So can we tease, we're just teasing this for the viewers, but can we do this part after we do the song? Can we do like the normal podcast and then say we'll talk about the video at the end?
Let's just be quick and dirty about the song, and then we can spend like 10 minutes, 15 minutes digging into music video.
Yeah, cool. All right, so now we're going to start the podcast part.
Firefest. I was trying to think of what music video town would be called. Like, what was a better way to say music video town?
Firefest.
Anyway.
Oh, that's a whole. Oh, we can't get into it.
Okay, we don't have time.
We are not arsonists. This is Week Didn't Start, the podcast. My name is Jerzy Gwiazdowski. I'm joined by Sam Corbin. Hello, Sam.
Hello, Jerzy.
So what we do on this show, I'm going to explain it every week, even though you should probably know. I
explained it last week.
You did explain this. Sorry, I didn't mean to say I'll explain.
Okay, here we go. What we do on the show is we take a famous poetic form known as "We Didn't Start the Fire" by the stranger who I will not name. I will name Billy Joel. I'm doing your whole bit. And
the beach.
We recap the week's news using that poetic form, trying to approach it in its cadence, in its rhyme scheme, in its scansion. And we try it every week with varying levels of success.
We try to match the meter. We try to match the trochaic octameter. We try to get the internal rhymes. We try to hit the syllable count. We try to hit the feminine endings. We try to get some of the dropped syllables. We try to do all of it. And sometimes we even have a little fun along the way. But also we recap the news. So part of it is just the experience of doing it. We realize this is dumb. This might be the most parodied song in the history of pop culture. And I came to you at the end of last year and I said, Sam, I don't think there are enough. We should do one a week for all 52 weeks of 2020. And you, I think because you're a nice person, agreed to this. And now you're stuck. And this is week number 18.
Whew.
It is May 17th, recapping the week of Sunday, May 17th, but this is our 18th version of this song.
I can't believe, like, in some ways 18 is such a big number, and in others it's only a small fraction of 52. I'm trying to do the math in my head. Oh wait, is it exactly a quarter? No, it's not. Ignore that math. Wait, is it? Wait, it's not. Wait. Okay, it's not. It's 62. I had to.
We're over a quarter through. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We're over a third through. Yeah. But we're getting there. This will not be it. I'll cut all of that embarrassing math out of the recorded version, but that's just for the YouTube crowd. And I'm not, if you're participating in the chat, I'm not looking at the YouTube chat. Feel free to talk to each other.
Should I look at the YouTube chat?
No, don't worry about it.
All right, I'm not looking at it.
Because I don't want it to interfere with the people that just listen on their iPods.
Okay, fair.
Maybe we'll do like a chat.
I mean, you're editing
start watching.
Yeah.
This is not going to be on the podcast, but if more people start watching, maybe we'll do like a live chat at the end or something,
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Or a magic number or something. But thank you for watching. We love everybody that's watching.
Yes,
We're just trying to keep the integrity for the audio. That's what we do. So Sam, what was it like for you this week?
I felt a little bit dumpy this week in the sense that, like, okay, I will not lie. Of the 2 verses I worked on this week, my second one is fire. I happen to know that. But I feel like I'm falling into a pattern of really gleefully enjoying matching words in the verse, sometimes to the detriment of the news recap, like the nodule of news. But
you're playing the meta game.
The meta game.
Where you're matching things in the new song to the old song. You have some great ones this week.
Thank you. And simultaneously a little bit more rhymezone.com. Which I sometimes do if I'm in like the flow of things, and and I'm sure you've done this too, but it's like you get to that 1 or 2 remaining news stories and you're just trying to figure out how to slot them into the spot they have to go in. Yeah. And you go, all right, rhymezone.com, whatever.
Did anything in the news happen on Thursday that rhymes with big?
Is that you're not asking? That's
no, that's what I'll do.
Oh, yes,
do you remember the week? I'll now confess this. I've been doing this for weeks.
Yeah.
So when there was one week where there was something about like a guy threw a pig in some other guy's pool in South America, and you were like, what is this story? I was like, pigs fly or something. And I was like, no, this was like a story. And there was maybe one like blog post about some guy who, as a prank, threw a pig in another guy's swimming pool.
Right.
But I found it because I was looking for a rhyme.
Right. And I did think to myself, like, yeah, I think there's a lot of making peace with that thing of I'm writing 2 words that next to each other are like the least, it's like the most, we talked about the lowercase concept. It's like the most lowercase assessment of something where you really do need to look it up in order to understand what the story was and where it fits in. And I have one line that you probably know which one I'm talking about. It's a news story you shared. I believe it's in my first verse, but I was so delighted, even though it required, like, it's less descriptive of the thing. I didn't use the keyword from the news story, but it was in favor of doing the matching of
I'm curious. We'll talk about it after we do.
We will talk about it afterwards.
But because I thought I knew which one you were talking about, and now I don't. But there's one that sticks out for me that you did this week. But I think you did really good stuff this week. So the way we did it this week is we truly alternated all 5 verses. So there are 5 verses in the song. We don't do anything with the chorus. Maybe we will eventually. Just hear the chorus, but we focus on the list of all of the news items. About 135 every week or so, 120 to 135. I had fewer this week because I did some combining and some stuff where I would replace 2 with 1 and things like that from the original song. But what we do is we take those 5 verses, and verse 1 covers Monday, verse 2 covers Thursday, verse 3 covers Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for the first 4 verses. And then verse 5 covers the weekend. So it sort of accelerates as we get closer to now. And this week I did Monday, Wednesday, and the weekend, and Sam did Tuesday and Thursday. Yeah. So we have nothing to write on the show.
You did the whole thing. Thank you so much.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Well, you were doing another show, so it just felt like it made sense.
Yeah.
and we can mix it up and play with the form. And I know you've talked about wanting to do a week where we kind of take all the news and look at it and then place it where we want.
Yeah, it's just becoming a little bit too much fun to see opportunities to match things both in their content, like new, old, and rhymes and words that are close to other words. It's just as an experiment, I think it'd be great.
I saw things on Wednesday and Monday that because I was doing all three, including the last verse, I pulled them and moved them around. So I felt like I had that latitude to move. And so I took advantage of it.
Nice.
So before we get into the verse of the song, one thing we do every week is we each pick two highlights. We pick a highlight from the original song, and we just do a quick hit. We mention something from the original song, either that we knew about, didn't know about, and then we pick a highlight from the current song, which is something in the news that we feel deserves maybe a little bit more focus or attention, something we thought was funny, a really good meme, something underreported, etc. So, Sam, what was your old highlight from this week?
Well, my old highlight was selected based on my news story. So I will tell you, my old one was Mickey Mantle. And Mickey Mantle was he had nicknames, the Commerce Comet, the Mick. He was a baseball player. We all know Billy Joel loves baseball. And more specifically, he played his entire career with the New York Yankees, allegedly also one of the most successful switch hitters in history, which means I think it means he bats both with his right and left hand. I'm really excited to talk about switches and pitches and hitters in my news story, but that's about the size of it. What's interesting, and the reason I mentioned Mickey Mantle also in such a cursory way is that sometimes Billy Joel will name a name, and if you look into it, it's like it was a pivotal point in this person's career. But Mickey Mantle is similar to Doris Day, where it's like starlet of the moment, like baseball player at the height of his career, you know? So no, it wasn't a notable World Series win. It wasn't a notable hit or home run. It's just like this guy who was at the baseball zenith.
He was the guy. He was the guy.
Among a few guys, but yes, Mickey Mantle. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, there are like 5 or 6 baseball references in the song, all about New York, except for California baseball, which is about the team from New York moving to California.
Also, didn't we establish that Billy Joel loves the Mets?
No, he loved the Dodgers.
The
Brooklyn Dodgers. So much of it's about the Brooklyn Dodgers.
That's what I meant
when
I said the Mets.
the New York Mets were the new team, and they won 2 championships during the course of the song, and one right before the song came out. And he doesn't mention them at all. So,
were the Dodgers a National League team?
The LA Dodgers were oh God. Yeah. Oh, because you have a thing about the designated hitter.
Yes, I will Google it just because I can. Because what are we if not researchers? Blah blah blah. Yes, Brooklyn Dodgers were active primarily in the National League, and then when they moved to the LA, it was still in the National League. Interesting.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of their roster. Yeah, I guess so. They're national. All right. So how about this? Because your things are linked and my things are kind of linked too. Do you want to do your new highlight?
Yes, sure. And one of the reasons I'm particularly excited to talk about this new highlight is that I did not know this about baseball, and I consider myself a baseball fan. So I was reading the story about how the National League was having these designated hitters like warm up in the bullpen. And I was like, what's the big deal? Hitters are warming up in the bullpen, like people are gearing up for a season. And this led me to discover, I was writing to a baseball chat and said, I mean, it wasn't a specific baseball chat, but baseball fans in a group chat said, why is this a big deal? And over the course of this conversation, discovered that the National League does not have designated hitters. And if you are listening to this and you're like, Sam, why would you not know this? It's because I have been an American League fan my entire life because I'm from Toronto. I've rooted for the Toronto Blue Jays my entire life. And I've just never extended my curiosity to the National League politics or anything. But I discovered that the people who are fans of National League teams think that the American League is cowardly for having designated hitters because they think it's a fairer game. Oh my God, this is so fascinating to me. It's, what is it, 9 on 9 or something?
Yeah,
it's like that. Yeah. And so the idea behind not having a designated hitter is that the pitcher also has to bat, and that having the pitcher at bat engenders a strategy, like the concept of double switching where you take two people out and then like swap their spots in the lineup and make sure that the pitcher bats as few times as possible. Someone explained this to me. I'm getting to the end of this, and I still feel a conviction that the concept of like, oh, well, it's just a better game if you have a pitcher who bats is so useless when the entire strategy of a coach would be to just place a pitcher and like have him bat never. Like, to me, it's just absurd that the reason to have a pitcher who must also bat is also to have that pitcher never bat. Like, then just stop pretending. Yeah, just have a DH. So anyway, I was very excited to learn something new about baseball, and yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead.
The news about the National League getting designated hitters is because of COVID. I'm sorry to name the virus that shall not be named that is permeating our consciousness.
I'll bleep it out on the podcast.
Thank you so much. But it's that because of the abbreviated season, they are having designated hitters in order to, well, this part of my brain has turned off, but I think it's just to get more. Because there's more interleague gameplay because it's an abbreviated season. So it's to keep things more fair. That's all.
Yeah. So MLB introduced interleague play in the mid 90s. I remember going to an interleague game between the Brewers and the Cubs, that was an interleague game at the time, but I'm a fan of the Milwaukee Brewers. You know, I'm not a huge baseball guy these days, but they switched in the 90s from the American League. They used to be in the AL East with the Yankees and everybody, and then they switched to the National League. So they've had both. And I don't really care about the DH thing. I mean, there's so much baseball stuff. It's an older sport, older fan base, and also these unwritten rules and this mythology around baseball. Right. It's a very quirky game. But, you know, the DH, I think, allows for like old players to go to the American League and just bat. So that's how you have some of these guys that has really long careers because all they have to do is just smash home runs and they don't have to do anything else in the game.
Oh, I gotcha. Because do they never play field positions?
No, because that's the pitcher. They're replacing the pitcher.
Oh.
So if you're the DH, you're the designated hitter. That's all you do. You just have to line up. So that's why like David Ortiz and some of these guys had these long careers of sluggers.
Right.
Barry Bonds, right? Like they can extend their careers by just kind of lining up in the box and
And was Frank Thomas the designated hitter?
At some point in his career, at the end, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, any of those sluggers, that's how the way they can extend their careers. I don't know so much about baseball, but that's one big part of it.
I love learning something new about the deepness, the depth of the mythology. I said deepness. Good night. What's your old story?
My old story. So I'm going on a run. What I've been doing my last several of these, and you can go back and, the fireheads already know, but if you're new to the show, you can go back and listen to the original, the old episodes. And I've been going on a run of highlighting people from the original song, We Didn't Start the Fire by the Beach, that are still alive. So I've done the Queen, Bob Dylan. Who else did I talk about? Last week I talked about Little Rock for the Little Rock Nine, the first high schoolers to go to a desegregated high school in Arkansas. But this week, this was somebody that hadn't popped into my head that's still living. And it's somebody, well, it's Bernie Getz. So my highlight from this original song is Bernie Getz. Sam, do you know anything about the Bernie Getz story?
Nope.
So this is 1984. I think it's better that you don't. This was very much of the time. So it's in verse 5 of the original song, which is the most, I would say, like what we're doing with this podcast and this show, which is, it was capturing the zeitgeist. So a lot of the stuff that happens in verse 5, especially in the second couple stanzas, the second stanza of verse 5 is all stuff from the 80s. So you have, hypodermics on the shore and homeless vets, AIDS crack, Bernie Getz. Bernie Getz became this very divisive kind of folk hero figure. He's a New York resident. And in 1984, he was armed on a subway car and 4 young men approached him and he shot them all in rapid succession.
Yeah.
And he was acquitted of all charges other than the concealed firearm. And, the NRA were big fans of his. And, it was a different time. There are things that are similar to kind of stuff that's happening in the news now. It was a different time. The subways were very dangerous. New York had a much higher crime rate than it does now. New York had 158 straight days without a homicide for the first time in history, FYI. But it was much worse then. The subways were really bad. And this guy, Bernie Getz, had been mugged before and had lobbied for or appealed to be able to carry a firearm with him in public. And it was denied, but he started doing it anyway.
Jeez.
And basically what happened is these 4 like 19, 20-year-old guys came up to him and were like, give me $5. And he pulled out his gun and shot all 4 of them. One of the guys was rendered quadriplegic, and he was acquitted of,
Jesus Christ,
all the stuff. Except
guns
for
are a
the
disease.
Yeah. So, so that's the old story. And I don't want to, whatever that happened. And he was acquitted. He still lives in New York. He still lives right off of Union Square. And
are you kidding?
Yeah. He got on the stop at the 14th Street Union Square subway stop. So this was all, he's like a lifelong New Yorker. He's a very weird character because he's been this like pot advocate. He's been like a pro marijuana legalization guy and doesn't like talk much about the previous, stuff in his life. But he was discovered without a mask in Union Square by a New York Post reporter last week or 2 weeks ago. And they recognized him as this New York figure and did an interview with him. And he is now, this is my new highlight, by the way. Well, it's getting into my new highlight, but Bernie Getz was like, oh yeah, this is all a conspiracy. You don't actually need a social distance. You don't actually need to wear a mask.
I'm so tired.
So we've seen the sort of, he's just really riding the wave. My actual highlight though this week is shitty people resurfacing in the news, which covers a couple of different stories that seem to happen this week. But people like Martin Shkreli, who appealed for case,
early release,
early release from prison so that he could study the virus, right? Was denied. So Shkreli's back in the news. They're kind of riding the coattails of this current pandemic and the fact that people are looking for a diversification of news in some way because there's really one news story ever since mid-March.
Right.
So it's, hey, remember the pharma bro? He's doing this. And so like shitty people coming back in the news. Also, Paul Manafort was moved to home detainment so that he can be, because of coronavirus concerns, because he is older, maybe susceptible to coronavirus, and because people in prisons are hugely disproportionately getting it. And then the other kind of shitty person that resurfaced in the news is the man who for decades has been known to, or at least suspected of, funding the Rwandan genocide for years in the mid-90s and is directly responsible for the deaths of nearly 1 million people in Rwanda, was apprehended in France this week.
What's his name?
His name, I actually wrote it in my verse and I'm still forgetting his name.
Then I can...
Kabuga is his name.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't read about this. Wow.
This happened on Saturday or...
Oh, okay. So maybe I wasn't up on the weekend news. Wow.
Yeah. So that was the big news. Felician Kabuga. Yeah. So this guy responsible for this genocide has been taken into custody. So that was going to be my new highlight. And then I thought, well, they're just a series of shitty people in the news that are resurfacing from the past. So since you like to do the thing where you link your old and your new,
I do like to link my old and my new.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
So those are our highlights. Do you want to jump into the song?
I do want to jump into the song.
Cool. Let's just do the 5 verses in order. They're already written. I'll pull them up on the screen. And this is going to start with me.
Ouch.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. My rib.
How's your bad rib?
Yeah, but it's getting better. It's getting better.
Okay, so we're going to do these 5 verses, and then we're going to talk about the We Didn't Start the Fire music video and dig a little bit deeper. So stick around for that. All right, I will start with Monday. Jerry Stiller, space debris, Washington potatoes free, Oklahoma, Fauci warning, Putin rating low. Amazon deforestation, black bear candy, home invasion, USDA, General Mills paid Pantheon saying coal. Food protest Bolivians, Tigers valedictorian, group sessions on Spotify, and the double rainbow guy. Distance flights not distancing. England's got a Zoom queen. Tesla running, Twitter warning, stimulus cash deadline. Stimulus cash deadline.
I liked it both ways. Okay, here we go. Tuesday. Rio Lady Modi's dime, Kabul and Oaxacan crime, distance kickers, British pickers, fashion forms block. Rank 1 Lebanon, Mini Moni, Pattinson, woman, fool falls, Uber, Grubhub talks. Dem aid, masks fake, Broadway's got a summer break, Brian Adams, racist rant, Hamilton in Disney's hands, oh my God. Mods hushed, COVID tech, countermeasures, visa threat, all-time hate, evil states, trouble in the bullpens.
The podcast. Beckett, Cypher, Big Max, Rhino saving dog pack, shower face mask, NASA slime, oldest gal in Spain survives, NBA ball, XFL, paralegal tips cartel, house record women vie, Manafort can go outside. Oh. Campaign Climate Task Force, John Cornyn changes course, UFOs, typhoon, fake pandemic, boogaloo, Matt Garcia wins his race, Justin Bieber's pizza face, Uber checker Colo, filtered Bolsonaro.
Thursday. Cutter masks Biden, suicides down in Japan, Popkin cops din, call for people's vaccine, beer dump in Australia, British genitalia, Burrs phone, migrant men, students beat Michigan, cyber libel, cleaner breaths, justice for Breonna's death, Wisconsin bars packed right away. What else do I have to say?
Week didn't start the podcast. You are really listening, and we're gonna do the fifth verse. Death of Cole, pics of Kim, Bundesliga back again, fake meme, Woodstock, UK tries to silence docs, Willard Shelton, insta crime, Pharma bro must serve his time, Kabuga is detained in France, House bill won't get second chance, Zuckerberg lends Giphy by, Trump can't golf with McElroy, cancel debts, settlements, spray, flak, crashing jets, Italy, Phyllis George, pension llama, case reborn, Senate web search spying war, I can't take it anymore.
Great fifth verse.
That was the week.
That was the week. All right. Any call outs?
I mean, the thing that I had a bunch of faves in yours, but the one about the Yellowstone lady that fell in the.
That was the one I was referencing about
the
lowercase. So. Yeah.
That was terrific. What did you think was weird about that?
Oh, it was that I started to get in my head this week in the writing about being like using words like woman, like like area woman, it started to feel like that. So I felt the salient point about that is Yellowstone. So if I don't say it, I'm like doing a disservice to the writing of the song, but I don't know. It's just getting in my head about it.
I found myself doing that too, like using words. I found myself feeling bad about the words I was using in order to fit the song into the structure.
Yeah.
I want to apologize to Paul Vasquez, the Double Rainbow guy, who lived a rich, full life and was so much more than the Double Rainbow guy.
Yeah.
And yet I could not resist saying "and the Double Rainbow guy." I'd also like to apologize to the oldest living woman in Spain, who I called the oldest gal in Spain, because
I liked that.
She survived as a little child the flu pandemic and coronavirus
and COVID. Wow. Yeah. Also, I wanted to call out, I was really appreciative of your use of the apostrophe in Tiger's valedictorian, because it made such a great use of the cadence and the rhythm.
The story there was, Princeton had their first Black valedictorian in the history of the university.
Wow. Let's see, what else? Like just looking at moments where things came together for me, like Hamilton and Disney hands instead of Elvis Presley Disneyland, like moments like great. That I'm newly obsessed with. And then I cannot resist calling out, in my Thursday verse, beer dump in Australia, British genitalia.
Oh, British genitalia was terrific, but it was so perfect.
Thank you. That's all I have to say. But let's see. The Woodstock thing I posted in the Friday, but I was glad it found its way into the
that like dumb
Woodstock.
Weird Woodstock meme.
Yeah.
What was something that I liked that I did? I had something. Oh, I felt bad about also in the first verse. I did England's got a Zoom queen, because it's English. England's got a new queen. Also, it's weird that Billy Joel, the Piano Man, says Brooklyn has a winning team, and he says England's got a new team.
Yeah. Another, and I have to say, because we're so hard on ourselves in the way we write, I always do like finding flaws. And this time I was like, oh, he says British Beatlemania and British politician sex. Like British is really doing a lot of heavy lifting in both of those lines.
Agreed. Yeah, we're beginning to see through the veneer of
That's
this
right.
song that it's
That's
so
right.
lyrically, perfect. Although the form, I will say, is perfect and it's held up for 18 weeks now. The thing about Zoom Queen is like, because she's distanced, but the real story is that she's not able to go from Windsor Palace back to Buckingham Palace. She's really doing her stuff over the phone, not Zoom.
Yeah.
But, Zoom has become
I'll give you a pass.
like it's become shorthand for distanced,
Yeah.
doing it
Yeah.
remotely. And it just, England's got a Zoom queen for England's got a new queen. I couldn't resist that.
I think it's great.
Cool. Yeah. All right.
Music video.
Let's drop
I'm
into the music
excited
video.
because I feel like not only, the music video, I'm excited to talk about the imagery and excited to talk about what this reveals about potentially about like Billy Joel as a writer of this song. Yeah.
That's what I'm super into.
Great.
Okay. Because I've got a lot of working theories about Billy Joel and his relationship to the song. And I think a lot of them come together in this music video.
Okay. Let's talk.
Okay. So I want to hear from you. Like, what were the things that struck you or that strike you about the music video? On first watch, whenever you originally saw it, and then on this watch where you were looking at it and taking notes specifically to talk about it for the show?
When I first watched We Didn't Start the Fire ages ago, and like obviously at repeated intervals for this song, I've always been struck by the campy nature of it, how it sets up this like, it seems like it's moving through these decades of the like perfect American household.
Right.
I mean, upon closer inspection, it's much more granular, like it's year by year, and also obviously a lot of things. But I always just thought like, this is, a pastiche of the American housewife, like the American dream at large, and then Billy Joel at like a shitty folding table in front of a flame. Like I was just never looking that closely.
Yeah.
I mean,
So the structure of the video, if you haven't seen it or if you're listening to the show, there's this family, presumably American family, in a kitchen. They're always in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Well, almost always. And they are going through the 4 decades that the song covers over the course of the song, and the set changes periodically throughout the show and kind of updates to different years and different trends. In that world, Billy Joel is also there in all black with sunglasses, singing the song and kind of observing the family, mostly passively.
Yeah.
And then in the cutaway scenes, which are the chorus, he's sitting at a table, banging his fists on the table.
Yeah.
And there's fire behind him, but it's not just fire. It is these giant images.
I had never seen those before. And when they're also traumatic images. Like I think you have probably done more sleuthing about what those images represent, because I didn't recognize all of them. But
you may be right. I may be crazy.
They're all traumatic, clearly.
So let's talk about the images then.
Okay.
The first image that comes up in this video is from the song. It's a car. It's a Studebaker.
Oh, okay. Not traumatic. Great.
So, but okay. He is really fucking up his metaphor here. His whole thing, again, Billy Joel really doesn't have a point of view in this whole song. His whole point is like, things happen. I personally, I don't know who the we is in the We Didn't Start the Fire.
Yep.
This generation, that generation. Like, things have always been happening, I guess, is his thesis of the song. Doesn't have a pro or con of any of the events that happen. But we can guess by like what he picked, that he was like maybe vaguely kind of liberal and kind of inclusive, and thought we weren't paying enough attention to world events and people outside of America and stuff like that. So what happens in the chorus is that the things that are in the pictures, it's like a big sheet behind him. They are engulfed in flames. So he's burning the things from the song, but aren't the things from the song the fire? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't get what the fire is supposed to be. Like, they're like getting burned down.
Yeah.
It's a very confusing message visually.
That's an interesting observation. I mean, I felt like the 2 images that stood out for me from the backdrops, one seemed to be a potential image from slavery in America. I wasn't sure. It was someone like chained to a tree in an image that was reminiscent of a lot of like lynching imagery.
Yeah, it's a lynching photo from 1933. That was part of like a photography docu series. So the image predates anything that we cover in the song, but I think is just an incredibly resonant and horrifying image
Yes.
for race relations in America and
Yeah. That was
viscerally.
my instinct. And so to see it burning up was kind of it that felt like a sharper metaphor because it was both like the act of trying to summarize, like the act of trying to minimize by in like list song form was inadequate.
Yeah.
Same with the image, which I again don't know, but I took to be from Vietnam.
Yes.
Okay.
A pretty, again, another horrific image. These two
Yeah.
specifically are
That's the
awful
ones
to
I
look
referred
at.
to as traumatic. Yeah.
I am happy to watch them burn. Yeah. So it's if you've seen it before, it's a gun, a Vietnamese person being held at gunpoint with the gun to their head and wailing in terror.
By an American soldier, it
By
should be said, right?
Yes. It's either
Yeah.
an American soldier or a North
Oh,
Vietnamese soldier.
it seemed like a white dude from
That's
America, but I
possible.
could be
Here
wrong.
I will.
Anyway.
And that's image 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then
I didn't recognize the others.
Image 4. Oh, okay. So image 4 is Jack Ruby killing Lee Harvey Oswald on television.
Whoa.
So he talks about JFK blown away. What else do I have to say?
Yeah.
And I mentioned in a previous episode, there's a lot more to say about that. But there's this great series of plays called the Apple Family Plays that the Public Theater did. They recently did another one in the pandemic where they were all socially distant, produced by the Public Theater. And there was a quote from it when the original play premiered on the 50th anniversary of the assassination of JFK, where one of the characters said, nobody saw JFK killed on television. We heard about it immediately after it happened. Everybody broke into the radio, broke into TV broadcasts, etc. Maybe some people saw it happen, but this thing in Dallas wasn't being widely covered. That's why we only have a couple little films of it, right? But after it happened, everybody was watching Lee Harvey Oswald being led in cuffs and watched this guy, Jack Ruby, of dubious origin, kill him on live television. So for a lot of people, approximately our parents' generation, what this play said, and I asked my folks around this time if it's the case, that for an entire generation of Americans and people around the world, that that was the first time that they'd seen someone die. And it was a shared experience for the entire country, right?
Oh God.
So that was the moment as we're seeing this guy, Jack Ruby, shooting Lee Harvey Oswald.
I think I've got to.
We could get, his testimony.
I've got to look at that picture again. Wow.
Yeah, pretty wild. So again, Billy Joel sort of belies his own premise here by saying, "What else do I have to say?" And then inserting the picture of Jack Ruby there. And then the last picture again is sort of like the Bernie Getz thing. It's a very 80s. It's a picture of Oliver North, who does that name ring any bells for you?
Mm-mm.
It was, I was like a little kid and I'm only aware of it from like residual stuff when I got older. But Ollie North, he was another kind of right-wing folk hero. He was supportive of Reagan during Iran-Contra and like implicated in the Iran-Contra affair.
Okay.
But that's it. So it was like something happening during the times, and it was one of the biggest stories of the 80s that the Beach had missed in the original song. So it almost felt like he was including recent stuff that he had missed in the song. Which I still think there's another maybe mini episode or discussion like this we can have about the fact that there's stuff missing from the original song.
Well, and maybe when we get into it and start talking about the music video, I can also I just want to put a pin in something I've been thinking about, which is how informed was Billy Joel? Like not just aware of, but how informed. And that's what I want to address with one or two examples. So anyway, let us.
So, well, I mean, we have been talking about the music video, but these are the chorus versions. And then the chorus part ends with, at least these versions of the chorus end with him in front of the picture of Ollie North burning and with him flipping the table over with I can't take it anymore.
Right.
So now let's talk about this other storyline of the family that we
go through. So
what came out to you about this family? Tell me everything.
Okay. I mean, let's first call out it's not one family, it's multiple families. And that's something that didn't feel like, unless it was like bad stunt double work, I really didn't think that we were supposed to believe it was one family,
Okay.
which may be a hot take. Because it seemed like the timeline almost wants you to think that way, but then there's like, first of all, there's a baby, there's a boy, there's a teenage boy, then there's a girl, then there's a teenage girl, then there's a different girl, there's another second boy who's wearing something different. So like, and there were different actresses. And one of the things I loved discovering was when I did a little bit of like digging to see like who played these characters, that Lucille Ball figure in the first American Family, it's a very clear impersonation, is a professional Lucille Ball impersonator. So it's just kind of endearing. Like it was very laid bare the way that he wanted us to think about this family at the beginning. But yeah, the issues of, I really felt that the family dynamics were a weird thing to try to track throughout the music video because they changed so much and it didn't seem, maybe it did seem like the real thrust of looking at the family was not so much about how the shape of the American family changed as how individuals in the nuclear family structure, the family structure dealt like were kind of we pull focus into them briefly, like the mom on pills and the kid on pills and the teen this and the dad this,
Yeah.
What about you? How did the family read to you?
The family, I am under the impression
Mm-hmm.
that it's the same continuous family, but we go through kind of like generations.
Oh,
Because there is a funeral.
the funeral is weird.
And I think what we're seeing is the dad from the original die.
Wow.
Who would now be like the grandpa.
I did not pick that up.
I think that's what we're seeing.
Hmm.
Yeah, the weirdest, the funeral is weird and the Christmas is weird. But the
Christmas
whole kind
is really weird, yeah.
The whole second part of it is pretty strange. And it's like the song, and it's like the way that we structure the song in our show, because it's pretty on in terms of the time period. It's like, okay, we're in the 50s. And even in the lyrics, he hits like 1 year for every line, basically.
Yeah.
And then it's all mixed up. Like you have Woodstock happening in the last verse.
Yeah.
And you have all the stuff from the 80s. So it gets all kind of jumbled.
Yes.
And it just sort of covers like, it's sort of a mishmash.
Yeah.
And the time periods reflect that. Cause I was watching and I was trying to say, okay, this is the 50s. This is the 60s. This is the 70s. So I was like, oh no, that's like more of the 60s. And there's like 3 different ones that are kind of the 60s and sort of the 70s.
Yes. I was really annoyed.
And I think that we end in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, I have a lot of things to say about things you just said. One,
okay.
A thing that really bugged me is that the same shot of the calendar flipping through January 1957 is used twice, even though we've already moved through time. Issue.
Yes.
Second, that
was clearly a pickup, second unit. They went back and reshot that to clarify the change of time because it's so confusing.
The second thing I had never heard before, I'm ashamed to admit, like I've probably heard it in the back of my mind, but because we never address it in our writing, I never clocked what's the phrase? He says, but when we are gone, will it still burn on and on and on? And I think
the last line of the song.
Yeah. Yes. And that speaks to your theory that it's the future. And also the fact that, things keep burning in the house. Like mom keeps burning things in the oven and, you have something to say about that.
Well, there's a lot of fire.
Oh, so much fire. But interestingly enough, the fire is never addressed. Like the fire never burns anything down. It never ends anything. In fact, the Lucille Ball impersonator mom like sets fire to her oven and like has this moment of checking the fire and then just goes to check on the baby while the oven's burning. And I thought that was like a very, metaphor. But I didn't necessarily, I think that now that you say it, you're probably right about the last scene being the future, but I was like, oh, it's just sad 80s. I was like, whatever this
weird,
is.
Yeah. I feel like it's sort
so
of
disturbing.
vaguely futuristic.
Yeah. And everything around them is in flames at that point.
Yeah. So there's this meta moment where it zooms out. It's like, actually, you've been watching a music video the whole time. This was on a set. And it's like, yeah, we know. And like Billy Joel was always there in the room. So yeah, the fire thing, you've got the burning the dinner. The boy, I think is the boy from the beginning, burns his draft card.
Yeah. Oh,
it's like a cultural moment. The teenage girl burns her bra.
Can I talk about this?
Please.
So when I saw the bra burning, I did a little Googling because I was fascinated by, the bra burning, and learned that the bra burning is a myth. It never actually happened. In the 1968 protest, where women, like, they basically tossed bras and things into a garbage can, but the bra burning was a direct, it was like a gendered, transposition of the draft card burning that was happening. So maybe I'm getting my year wrong. I do think it was 1968. But maybe, no, yeah, it was. But this is what led me to ask myself how informed Billy Joel was, because it's like, looking at that image, you cannot tell whether he is winking at it to say this didn't happen, but here we are experiencing the myth of the moment, or just, like, and it made me, I don't know, it just sent me on this spiral asking myself, to what extent did Billy Joel like know what was media spin, what was, being foisted on him, what was, I will never sincerely use the phrase fake news because I hate it so much, but like, what was just kind of stoking the ire of the people,
stoking the fire of the people. So I'm so glad you brought this up. Mm-hmm. I wanted to talk about this if we got around to it. The bra burning thing, yeah, it was like, I don't even know if it was necessarily media bias. It might have been reported or erroneously reported, but it became this it became a pre-internet meme. It had such a force as a shorthand, as lowercase, as you say, for feminism. Yeah. And it was a very positive, like, people thought of it in a very positive way, and in a very negative way, it became this sort of shorthand, the way that, nowadays people have kind of weaponized the idea of social justice or safe space, or, those kind of things. Like, it became this signifier of this kind of culture war argument that keeps going on and on and on. But I think it's a reference to the, like, basically it's his one apocryphal nod to feminism in the entire song.
Yeah. And I didn't read from the music video that it was,
it's one of the things that's not in the song.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I never even thought about that. And yes, the way that things were addressed. And also, I have to say, his presence in the song was, like, visually, his presence in the music video was maybe the most honest, and it was the most honest thing because it was the most inadequate thing, right?
He's just chilling there passively doing nothing.
Yes. And in fact, some of the editing is so bad, like right at the top where like the veil goes through him. Oh my God. Yeah. I was like, it's beyond the veil. I was like trying to do wordplay in my head. Anyway, yes.
He does interact at one moment.
Yeah.
You mentioned, I believe this is during the same time when the fire is burning in the stove. He goes and plays with the baby.
Yes, with the rattle. Yeah.
Which I think is him.
Oh,
so this is my other thing about this song, right? It's so through his own mindset,
right?
Which is why he might have left things out of the original song,
right?
So he's the baby in the video, and there's a bunch of stuff already, all the stuff about the Dodgers and baseball, and so much New York focused stuff. And he talks about, you can just. I have the working theory that so much of it is about telling his own life story, his own experience.
Huh.
There's stuff in there like the Lone Ranger lunchbox, the Slinky, the Lincoln Logs, like all these toys. There's so many toys, like such specific toys. These are clearly Billy Joel's memories growing up as a kid in New York.
Wow.
That he's putting in there, right?
I'm just thinking about it now, like the cookie jar and all the kitchen utensils he's obsessed with playing with. Dude, now if you cast them as mementos, it makes sense.
That's what I think is going on there, that it's tracking his own Joel-centric journey through American history.
Wow.
And, we are biased. We are New Yorkers as well. You are originally from Canada. We have our own point of view, our own biases. So we're honoring the song by kind of filtering through our own point of view. But it's something that cannot be denied, that he is really working through some shit in this song.
Do you think that the Mickey Mouse picture that flashes at the end is something he drew?
Oh, yeah. Oh, on the refrigerator.
Yeah.
Oh, there's some. Okay, shit. I don't have the note for this, but there's a name on the drawing. So we like learn the name of the child in the, it's not,
Oh my
it doesn't say
God,
Billy
no,
Joel.
I
It's like
don't
some
know
made
it.
up name. Well,
Oh
we
my
can
God.
revisit this.
Okay.
But yeah, it's the kid drawing Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Yeah, it must be.
I'm going through my, like, I'm seeing if there was anything else that I wanted to call out.
Yeah. You
Yada, yada,
mentioned the
yada.
radio.
Oh, no, I didn't. Did I?
I think so.
Ooh, sorry.
Maybe.
What were your thoughts on the
There's
radio?
like a thing about technology, like they bring in a fancy new radio and it's like this huge deal.
Right.
And then there's like this progression of technology where there's like the mobile television and the,
right.
the garbage disposal, like the advent of technology is a big thing.
Yep.
Over the course of it.
Let's see. There was one kid was
oh, the stuff with the mother, there's like a lot of memes again, like bra burning.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I wanted to mention another thing that to your point about the lack of like feminist perspective, one of the things that really frustrated me was the way that like the daughter is like playing the violin, the mom hates it, she takes pills and then she plays the violin.
Oh.
I was like, that is if that's something different than you were thinking. The things that pissed me off about that is it's like absent mother, like can only take drugs. And this is like the psychedelic hippie narrative of like, kind of like Woodstock almost. It's like, that's how you get into, and it felt so like there was just nothing real about the women in that music video.
I think that's really good. And it's funny because the bra burning is a meme, right? It's like something people said about women.
Right.
The mother's little helper taking Valium for housewives is also a sort of a cultural meme, pre-internet meme.
Yep.
And at the very beginning, we see the mom requesting or eating pickles and ice cream.
Yes, for the pregnant.
Which is another
like
cultural kind of signifier meme thing about women.
Yes. I did write that down too. Yeah. I hate him. No, I'm kidding. But I was gonna say
he's had relationship issues in his his marriages and stuff. So I don't. That's fair. That's fair game.
Did you think the coins on eyes was any like I
Billy Joel, come on the show. Come on the show.
I'm Jewish. We have a very specific way of saying goodbye to relatives and burying them. I know that coins on eyes has a history, but I don't know if it's just like a tradition in other religions. Do you know anything about coins on eyes?
I clocked it as a thing that happens at funerals that felt kind of anachronistic.
I looked it up just online and it's like, but it has a really deep, like the original symbolism of it is that the dead can't cross over the river Styx. So it's like got a very spiritual meaning of putting the coins on eyes. At first I thought it was like corruption, money, like something, but it has a very, so anyway, I didn't know if there was anything deeper to that, but
I just thought it was to keep them closed.
Oh,
I mean, but maybe specifically coins because
I don't know.
You bring money, you bring values with you.
Yeah.
To
just
to the next world, like the pharaohs.
Yes.
Okay, a couple other things. Let's see. I mentioned the garbage disposal. Oh, the fire. We talked about the fire. The son lights up a joint, burns a draft card, burning bra. There's candles at the funeral.
Yep.
Does the Christmas tree start on fire?
I don't remember.
No. There's this whole weird Christmas scene.
I don't remember. Oh, there's Christmas. Lots of spinning. Lots of spinning on heads, hula hoop, little girl ballerina spinning.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's a weird moment, again, having to do with women where it's either the college daughter, the teen daughter says no to a bowl of potato chips.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It's like somebody, maybe mom or dad, tries to offer chips and she's like, no, which I think might be a visual reference to dieting or diet fads or something.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't clock that. I clocked a weird moment where like daughter is making some kind of like doing something weird with a male, like either suitor or father figure. I could not tell. It's like rejecting in advance. It was very uncomfortable. And that's why I couldn't tell what the family dynamics were at any point because
it's a total mess.
Billy Joel's presence is so disturbing in that video. Like the more I watched it, the more frustrated I became because it's like there was really no point in inserting himself in that video.
If you know the future, why aren't you warning them? He's doing nothing. And this is my whole issue.
Wow.
Again, I'm on the fence about his point of view in the song because he's saying, oh, this shit's always been happening, which I kind of am sympathetic to. Like, it's not worse now than it's ever been.
Yeah.
but also by the way that he wrote the song, he is copping to the fact that you're so much more easily influenced by things that happened during your formative years, because
Right.
look how much meticulous time he spends on the 60s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, or the 50s and 60s, and the 70s and 80s when he was becoming a rock star and everything. It's these quick hits, and it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
So in his own retelling of the fact that, like, boy, this fire, it's been burning, like the fire clearly accelerates over the course of the song. So I feel like he's undermining his own point of view, and it's and he doesn't have a point of view beyond the fact that things happen, which doesn't feel like a cohesive point of view.
I agree with you.
But Billy Joel, please come on the show. We're big fans.
Yeah, no disrespect.
If he came on the show, I would have a heart attack. That was a long episode. This is going to be a super length show.
Yeah, but you're the editing whiz. I trust you to make it bearable.
I would prefer to just do one episode that required no edits once in our lives.
Do I keep fucking it up? Why does it need edits?
We just, because I talk too much.
No, I talk too much. Do you want to play this game? No. Anyway, we're both doing great.
So
yes.
Thank you for recapping the video with me. Let's pick, future things we can do and kind of do some deeper dives in parts of the song.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to do that crazy approach, but maybe we could do that a few weeks from now. It doesn't feel quite like the time yet, if I may be so bold.
Sure. Yeah. Maybe once we figure out what the angle is, we'll do that and mix up our writing of it in a different way. Yeah. Excellent. Well, this has been week 18. You want to do this again for week 19? What do you think?
I do.
All right. So thank you for listening. If you want to read the lyrics that we do every week, I've started posting them on the Twitter and Instagram. We're at Week Didn't Start on both Twitter and Instagram. So as soon as this episode posts, maybe slightly before, the lyrics to this week's version will go up, and then you can look at the last 2 or 3 are up there on the Instagram and Twitter. I'll start making the backlog, but we've done a bunch of them and we just figured out how to make it kind of look nice and good.
Yeah. And can I also float the idea, like we've have a couple friends and colleagues who have been listening to the podcast and have, really interesting theories or things to add or phrases they always thought about Billy Joel. So if you are listening to this and you have opinions about what you're hearing or deeper dives that you want us to explore, things that you want to share, please interact with us on Twitter and Instagram. We would love to talk to you.
Yeah, it's been already fun hearing what people have to say and what people have to think about it. And again, there's the whole point of this is that there's too much to cover, and this song format is the only way to capture as much of it as possible. It still feels like it's leaking out of our ears. It's the only way. So if there's something that we get wrong, or there's something that you want to hear more about, or there's you have suggestions or comments or accolades, especially the accolades, please do that. Rate us on iTunes. If you listen on iTunes, write reviews. You can get us on Spotify. You can get us on.
Spotify. I mean, that is dope.
We're on every platform. Google Podcasts. We're on every platform where you can get podcasts.
Dope.
And keep listening and keep sharing and tell your friends and subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And if you do want to watch us do this live on Sunday nights at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, you can also subscribe to our YouTube and watch us do this live and see all the stuff that we end up cutting out of
all the
podcast.
rich talk.
Exactly. So thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week on We Didn't Start. Thank you, Sam.
Good night.
Okay, that's the end of the audio version. YouTube people, thank you for watching.
Thank you so much.
I'm still not going to engage with you in the chat.
I'm going to stop this. Are people in the chat talking?
No, it's just a bit.
Thank you so much.
It's just us in the chat. Actually, I'm not sure because I'm not looking.
I stopped my audio Audacity.
Okay. We're still streaming live. Let's really quick tell the most embarrassing story.
Okay. I wore a bee costume for my last live stream. That's all I have to say.
And seriously, no one can know this.